time is now 7 o'clock. Good evening. Call this meeting to order. Today's Tuesday, March 20th, 2012. Item number 1, call to order, establish quorum. We do have a quorum. Item number 2, Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flags. Ms. Longoria.
Good evening. We have 2 students from Veterans Memorial Academy. Please help me welcome Alonso Chapa. He will be doing the pledge this evening. Alonso Chapa is a freshman at Veterans Memorial Academy who turned 16 years old this year. His favorite subject is history. He says he likes to do a lot of things, but anything that turns out to be beneficial to either himself or for others. His accomplishments are as follows. He's been a member of the Honor Society from 6th through 8th grade, and at the present time, he's the president of the VMA choir. He's also on the armed drill team in the ROTC program. His favorite accomplishment would have to be that he's the commanding officer of the Leadership Officer Training Corps program. His parents are Elvis Chapa and Esperanza Chapa. And doing the invocation for us this evening, Valeria de la Fuente. She's 15 years old and she's a freshman at Veterans Memorial Academy. Her favorite subject is world geography because she loves to learn about all the different cultures around the world. Her favorite hobbies are shopping or just spending quality time with her friends and family. Her parents are Artemio de la Fuente and Maria de la Fuente. Her highest accomplishments or goals are to graduate high school and college and to become a pediatrician or a Victoria's Secret model. All right. We hope they don't forget about us when they get famous, right? I would like to acknowledge the NJROTC instructor, Lieutenant Rolando Gonzalez. He's also in the audience. Principal at that campus is Teresa Cervellon. Parents, if you're in the audience, please stand so we may recognize you. And now I'd like to ask Alonso to join us up at the front.
All rise, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Can you please close your eyes and bow your head? Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you on this day for letting us all come here safe and sound. Now lead us on as the Board of Trustees. Lead us on into this meeting, dealing with issues and a better tomorrow and a brighter future for our youth. Amen.
If you can please remain standing, audience. I am going to deviate from the agenda just for a little bit. If I can have the students please approach. Thank you. Congratulations, Valeria. Thank you. All right, at this time, like I said, I do want to deviate just a little bit from the agenda. I would like to request a moment of silence. We've had 2 very important staff members that are no longer with us. I'd like to begin by recognizing first Betty Cashin. She was a librarian for over 40 years here in the San Benito CISD. She was a librarian at San Benito Junior High, which is now Miller Jordan Middle School. And Mr. Tumberlinson, we were talking about how she contributed to this district, and he recalls her as a very happy person, always with a smile on her face, and very willing to serve this community. So I'd like to recognize her with a moment of silence. And in addition to that, I'd also like to recognize Consuelo Garza. She served the district over 40 years of service to San Benito CISD children, and she began as a migrant educator to Fred Booth, and she ended her career in La Paloma. I do apologize. I do get a little bit emotional with her because I had the privilege to call her my teacher. If we can please have a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. We're going to go ahead and continue with item number 4, roll call. Please respond with present. Mr. Hector G. Leal. Ms. June Aguilera.
Present.
Mr. Oscar de la Fuente. Mr. Julian Huerta.
Present.
Mr. Oscar Medrano. Mr. Bob Tumberlinson.
Here.
Mr. Antonio G. Limon.
Present.
And Mr. Gus Acevedo. Item number 5, recommend approving the agenda of the regular board meeting of March 20th, 2012 with any corrections or deletions. Motion by Mr. Tumberlinson. Seconded by Mr. Huerta. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Item approved. Item number 6, special recognitions. Ms. Longoria.
We have some athletes from San Benito High School. The first group that I'd like to call on are members of the varsity girls wrestling team. These girls went out and competed and had a real successful season. They ended up being named 32 5A dual district champions, 32 5A district champions. They had an undefeated season of 17-0, undefeated tournament 4-0, and they placed 4th in the Region 4 tournament. These athletes are, please help me welcome them. We have Mr. Julian Huerta doing the honors this evening. Anisa Abrego, a senior at San Benito High School. Stephanie Benavides, a junior at San Benito High School. Erica Guzman, sophomore at San Benito High School. Victoria Guzman, senior at San Benito High School. Brianna Jimenez, a junior at San Benito High School. Selena Maldonado, junior at San Benito High School. Alexandria Marmolejo, senior at San Benito High School. Samantha Martinez, senior at San Benito High School. Elma Rios, senior at San Benito High School. And Valeria Torres, junior at San Benito High School. We have Secretary June Aguilera doing the honors. I also like to recognize head coach Crispin Lopez. And the assistant coach Leticia Pope. Let me tell you a little bit about some of these individual accomplishments. This year, they had 9 regional qualifiers, 1 alternate qualifier, February the 10th, February 11th, at the Blossom Athletic Center in San Antonio. Alexandria Marmolejo, where's Alexandria? 95 pounds, she placed 3rd at regionals, state qualifier. At 138 pounds, Valeria Torres, where's Valeria? Okay. 4th at regionals and a state qualifier. At 185 pounds, Anisa Abrego fourth at regionals, and a state qualifier. And 128 pounds, Selena Maldonado, sixth at regionals. 215 pounds, Samantha Martinez, sixth at regionals. And at the state competition, the team finished 27th at state. Alex Marmolejo got fifth at state. Anisa Abrego placed ninth at state. And Valeria Torres also placed ninth at state. So congratulations, girls and coaches, on a most successful season. And I know some of y'all are going to be back. So I know you guys are looking forward to that. And I know Coach mentioned to me that they're looking forward to taking it again and winning top honors once again. So parents, if you're in the audience, please stand and be recognized at this time. Congratulations on a job well done and on representing our district very well at state and at regionals. Thank you. I'd also like to recognize the principal at San Benito High School. She is in the audience, Mrs. Delia Weaver. The team from San Benito High School, these are the boys, members of the varsity wrestling team. These are the regionals qualifiers that went to compete in San Antonio. And we begin tonight with junior Alfonso Guevara. Sophomore Amancio Vasquez. Senior Jacob Gonzalez. Junior Chris Guerra. Junior David Jurado. Sophomore Enrique Guzman. Junior Michael Anaya. Sophomore Brandon Juarez. Junior Sam Lopez. Sophomore Greg Hernandez. And Junior Pedro Lozano. I'd like to recognize head coach Rudy Quilantan and assistant coach John Silva. I'd also like to mention that at the regional wrestling tournament in San Antonio at the Blossom Athletic Center, February 10th and 11th, Greg Hernandez, sophomore, placed 6th. Congratulations. At this time, we'd like to recognize the parents. If y'all are in the audience, please stand and be recognized at this time. Great job, athletes and coaches. Thank you, and we look forward to another successful year next year when you guys get back, right? Thank you. Yes, that's right. A big team. And that concludes the special recognition. And I would like to add that we are going to have the members of the powerlifting team that are going to come before the board. They just finished taking state honors. You may have read about them in the paper, so we'll have a newspaper ad in the weekend, this weekend in the San Benito News, but we will be recognizing them at a later time, along with some other athletes.
Moving on to item number 7, Superintendent's Report.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, we'd like to inform the board of the overnight trips that have been scheduled. We have San Benito High School Skills USA State Conference, March 22nd through the 24th in Corpus Christi, Texas. We have San Benito High School Choir, the State Solo and Ensemble Competition, March the 25th through the 26th in San Antonio. San Benito High School and Veterans Memorial Academy, the Texas HOSHA State Conference, March the 29th through the 31st in San Antonio. And San Benito High School, the Leos Club, assists at the free summer camp for disabled children, March the 30th through April the 1st in Kerrville, Texas. Also have a report on the child nutrition audit. I would like to inform the board that all local education agencies that participate in the National School Lunch Program must undergo a school meals initiative review at least once every 5 years. The review is part of the United States Department of Agriculture. The strategy is to ensure that school menus comply with the meal patterns and the dietary guidelines for the American and certain nutrient standards when averaged over a school week. San Benito CISD had their SMI review on February the 21st. After the analysis, the meal pattern evaluation, the on-site review was completed. San Benito CISD was found to be in compliance with all requirements. For our school community, this SMI review serves as an excellent report on the nutritional integrity of the school meals. This review provides validation for our parents, our students, that our child nutrition program is providing healthy choices. The school meal initiative follows the coordinated review effort we just had about a month ago, conducted January 2012, a bit more than a month ago, in which the child nutrition department received an excellent review. So both of these reviews will tell our community that our child nutrition program, headed by Jana Landrum and her staff, are doing an excellent job, meeting all requirements, surpassing all requirements, and we're very proud of the hard work that they do. Also have a report on district energy use. Board members, you have an item before you there. The first one that you see there is entitled San Benito CISD Yearly Usage. And this is based on the 2007-2008 school year as being the base year for usage, and all comparisons are in kilowatt hours. And if you'll notice, the 2007-2008 school year, after that year, we added approximately 86,000 square feet of additional space in VMA, the classrooms, the cafeteria at Ed Downs and Sullivan. So we added approximately 1,200,000 kilowatt hours after the 2007-2008 school year. But during the current year, a decision was also made this year to keep all thermostats between 74 and 76 degrees. And that brings us to a savings of approximately $600,000 a year in electrical use for the district compared to the 2007-2008 school year. So I would like to congratulate Mr. Montes and his department, as well as Mr. Ramon, for the hard work they've done to get our air conditioning system working the way it's supposed to be. You have the figures there. Estimated savings of about $600,000. You take some additional things that we plan to do, and the savings will probably be close to $1 million a year on electrical energy, which will start to pay off the investment the district made using the money from the instructional facilities allotment that we were allowed to use to be able to revamp our air conditioning system. The second page you have is the San Benito High School part. San Benito High School, and approximately when we started working at San Benito High School, approximately 50% of all the compressors were not working at the high school. And the fresh air intake at the time was only about 10%. Current law requires that the fresh air be 35%, which it is now. Humidity was not being controlled at the old system. Humidity currently is being controlled. The student and staff comfort level has improved greatly. All comparisons, again, are in kilowatt hours, and we're basing it on the 2005-2006 school year, which is the base year, and this represents a realistic comparison because that's about the last time that the high school equipment was working properly up until now, and that's approximate savings of about $100,000 a year compared to 2005 and 2006 at San Benito High School. So those are good news for our community, good news for our schools, that our energy program is working. And again, I would like to congratulate Mr. Montes, Mr. Ramon, and their department for the hard work they've put into this.
Would you like to tell everybody how much we pay for our electricity?
Emma? We pay .0629, 0.0629 cents, and our carrier is Direct Energy. So that's what we pay per kilowatt
That's
hour.
very interesting if you turn your bill over and look on the back side and see how much you're paying for it.
.0629. I'm sorry, .06976. I wrote it down because I knew my memory was going to fail me. .06976, just about under 7 cents per kilowatt hour. Okay, the next item on the superintendent's report is disbursements, disbursements by organization, and San Benito CISD investment report for December the 1st, 2011 through February 29th, 2012. That concludes the superintendent's report. We'll attempt to answer any questions that board members may have.
Being that there are no questions, we're going to go ahead and move on to item number 8, school construction report.
Good evening. Frank Roberts and Landrum Elementary are the projects that we currently have. The brickwork and the block work has been completed at Frank Roberts. Approximately 95% of the roof areas have been completed. Plumbing and electrical work is continuing. Glass installation began today. Ceramic tile work is continuing. HVAC work is also continuing. At Landrum, block and brick has been completed. Approximately 95% of the roof has been completed. Plumbing, electrical work is continuing. Ceramic work is continuing, as well as HVAC work is continuing. As of today, the project is approximately 80% completed. Are there any questions?
Would you say that the Frank Roberts construction is going to be completed before the end of the school year?
We might be able to get it done by the middle of May. We're trying to see if we can get it done by then.
Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Ramon. Moving on to item number 9, public comment. In order to promote efficient meetings, the board may act upon, public comment. We do have one audience member who is going to participate at this time. The undersigned wishes to address the San Benito CISD Board of Trustees, and by his or her signature shows into the board that he or she understands the following provisions to addressing the board. The person wishing to address the Board of Trustees must register with the presiding officer or designee no later than 5 minutes before the announced time of the school board meeting. Shall state their full name, shall state what organization group, if any, is being represented, shall state the topic they wish to address before the school board, shall refrain from commenting directly on any individual school district employee or public official by name, but may instead refer to a specific employment area, job title, or the Board of Trustees as a whole, and shall refrain from attacks on individuals. Person wishing to address the Board of Trustees should do so in accordance with the following San Benito CISD Board Policy BED guidelines. Speaker will be allowed only 5 minutes to give his or her presentation. Delegations of more than 5 persons shall appoint 1 person to present their views before the Board of Trustees. Presentation shall be informative and shall pertain to school-related issues. Any attack on an individual shall be considered disruption of the meeting. The Board of Trustees shall not deliberate or decide regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. At this time, I would like to ask Mr. Hand, and his topic is to stop the cuts resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm John Hand. I'm the president of the San Benito TSTA. I'd just briefly like to express my appreciation for the support that we've received from our school district on a Stop the Cuts initiative. I appreciate the fact that it's on your agenda tonight, and I want to say thank you for that. Just a quick update. We have been working in the schools and in the community to get signatures. Our representative, Rosalinda Rodriguez, will be taking those to Austin next week. Our organization is joining with, Save Our Schools, in a rally on Saturday in the Capitol at Austin. And I don't think the tide has turned yet, but the conversation seems to be turning in our favor. And before I leave, I'd just like to leave with you 3 articles that came out in the last 3 days. The first one is from the Austin American-Statesman that talks about the backlash that essentially it seems to be a statewide backlash against the cuts in school funding. Second one is a short editorial from the Houston Chronicle. And the third is from the San Antonio News that talks about a very small district in the Somerset Independent School District and the financial struggles they're having. I'd just like to share those with you and say, once again, thank you for your support. And I'd like to say something off topic. It doesn't pertain to that, but it's because of a conversation I had today. And I think that somebody needs to say it, to say this, that there are a lot of people in this room who should receive a thank you for the fact that we can provide a good and a safe education for our kids. This is a result of a conversation I had with some young teachers today. And the work that we've put in to make our schools a place where young people can get a good education and come and go and feeling safe is really a tribute to everyone in this room. And on behalf of the kids that I teach, I'd just like to say thank you to everybody here. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Hand. Item number 10, action agenda. In order to promote efficient meetings, the board may act upon more than one item by a single vote through the use of consent agenda. Consent items placed on the agenda shall be marked with an asterisk. Consent items are items for which no board discussion is anticipated and for which the superintendent recommends approval. Prior to the time which approval of consent agenda is had at the request of any member of the Board of Trustees, any item on the consent agenda shall be removed and given individual consideration. We'll begin with business and finance. Item 1203A-1, request for approval of proposal for the HVAC improvement project for the Miller Jordan Middle School Fieldhouse. Question by Mr. De La Fuente. Item number 1203A-2, request for approval of proposal for the HVAC improvement project for the Riverside Middle School Gymnasium. Question by Mr. De La Fuente. Item 1203A-3, request for approval of proposal for the on-site primary care health clinic.
I want to question that one as well.
Question by Mr. De La Fuente. Item 1203A-4, request for approval of renewal of the existing delinquent tax agreement. Consent. Item 1203A-5, request for approval of a 3-year contract renewal with Microshare for district-wide Sophos endpoint protection and email security. Consent. Item 1203A-6, request for approval of contract to provide the annual financial and compliance audits for the fiscal years ending August 31st, 2012 and 2013. Consent. Item 1203A-7, request for approval of resolution concerning high-stakes standardized testing of Texas public school students. Consent. Item 1203A-8, request for approval of resolution to stop the cuts in public education funding. Consent. Item 1203A-9, request for approval of 2011-2012 budget amendments. Consent. Item 1203A-10, request for approval of budget transfers. Consent. Under curriculum and instruction, item 1203A-11, request for approval of instructional materials allotment and text certification for the 2012-2013 school year. Consent. Under administration, item 1202A-12, request for approval of board minutes. Consent. Item 1203A-13, request for approval of the Texas Education Agency low attendance day waiver for February 16, 2012. Consent. Item 1203A-14, request for approval of resolution to suspend portions of policy EIA logo for the 2011-2012 school year only. Question by Ms. Aguilera. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve items 1203A-4, 1203A-5, 1203A-6, 1203A-7, 1203A-8, 1203A-9, 1203A-10, 1203A-11, 1202A-12, 1203A-13. On 12. 1203A. Okay, correction on item 1202A-12, it should read 1203A-12. Do I have a motion to approve? Okay. Motion made by Mr. De La Fuente, seconded by Mr. Tumberlinson. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries, items approved. Going back to item number 1203A-1 under Business and Finance, Mr. De La Fuente had a question.
Yeah, I have a question. I guess we could take up items number 1 and number 2 with the President's permission. They both deal with bids on HVAC improvement. And I was reviewing on both those bids, the low bid is not recommended. And I wanted to know why, in particular, with the item number 1, you know, we have a lower bid than the bid that's recommended. And not only is the lower bid recommended, the lower bid's going to take twice as long to complete the project. The recommended bid is for Texair Company, and they're going to complete the project in 180 days, and they're charging more than $17,000 more than the other company, Central Air CAHS. They're going to complete the project in 90 days, which is half the time, and they're $17,000 cheaper. I want to know why that's not the recommended bid.
If I can have Adrian and Mr. Montes come to the podium, please. This was discussed in the committees when we went over this. Now, there's a 7-step evaluation or a 6-step evaluation process, not only the bid. Is that correct, Mr. Garcia?
Yes, sir. It's, we requested request for competitive proposals, which are evaluated by points. We have about 7 selection criteria. They consist of reputation, the past experience in work, and also with the price. Anyway, the total points are at the bottom, and so we rank them. Whoever gets the highest points is ranked number 1, and we recommend usually the highest point proposal.
Well,
We did footnote some of them that were low bid and why they were not considered.
Well, I can appreciate that, Mr. Garcia, but there's only a 23-point difference between the low bid and the recommended bid. And again, we're talking $17,000 difference between the low bid and the recommended bid. And not only that, it's going to take twice as long for your recommended bid to complete the project as opposed to the low bid, which could do it in 90 days. I mean, I just don't understand why you're not recommending the low bid that can complete the job faster, and there's only a 23-point difference in your rating system between those two companies.
The evaluation consisted also of job performed here in the district, and the 90-day proposer, CHS from Harlingen, he had already done some work here. He already did a project.
3 elementary schools.
3 elementary schools, and their job performance was not as good as Texair. Texair has also done some jobs here, and their quality work is much higher than.
Okay.
The 180 days also, after talking to the
See also,
committee.
and I wanted to talk about bid number 2 as well, because on bid number 2, it's the same deal. I mean, you have the same two companies. Okay, you have the Harlingen company bidding $17,000 less than Texair, and you know, I'm just wondering. I mean, that you're talking a difference of $34,000 on both projects, and I want that justified.
This two,
Texair done work for the district as well.
yes.
How many elementary schools have they worked at?
They work at the sports complex, and they worked at the Baylor Jordan's cafeteria, kitchen, and band hall.
Well, you
As far
have
as
a
I
band
can-
hall completion, you have a sports complex
Yes, sir.
job, and then you have somebody that did 3 elementary schools. What 3 elementary schools were?
Rangerville, Dr. Cash, and Ed Downs.
And what was wrong?
We had problems with the quality of work that they were doing, and we still corrected some of those problems.
And so in your opinion, you're saying that the $34,000 is justified because we're not going to have to babysit the project after it's done?
Yes, sir. Bottom line.
And Texair, in your opinion, does a much better quality work than the other company does?
Yes, sir.
You're satisfied with their work?
Yes, sir, very much.
Do you feel comfortable
Yes, sir.
asking the board to spend an extra $34,000 to hire this company as opposed to the low bid? Do you want us to do that?
Because of the quality of work and the, you know, the better company, yes, I do, sir. In the long run, we'll be saving money.
Is that correct, Mr. Limon?
There's no saying que lo barato sale caro.
I agree, but I want to hear it from you.
I believe when we discussed it, that, you know, that we felt that the better deal would be paying, you know, Texair to do it because it would get done correctly.
Which, with the CAHS company, in what campuses did we have issues?
Rangerville, Dr. Cash, and Ed Downs.
And those issues were with?
Quality of installation of the work, you know, the warranty after the job was completed. Like I said, we're still correcting some of the problems, and it's out of warranty, so it's our baby.
All right, I don't have anything. I'll go ahead and go and move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation. I guess this was discussed also. I think it's 10 of them.
Yes, in the finance.
Yeah, that's the main recommendation. You're willing to go on the record, Mr. Limon, that's a better deal.
I'll go ahead and we move that we approve items number 1 and number 2.
I'll second.
I have a motion to approve items 1203A-1 and 1203A-2. Motion made by Mr. De La Fuente, seconded by Ms. Aguilera. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We also had a question on item 1203A-3, request for the approval of proposal for the on-site primary care health clinic.
The question I had on that is, I believe the company that's being recommended basically gives a total cost for the first year. And doesn't break down the cost of the other businesses. I just want to make sure that the bid they're submitting is based on 45 patients per day.
Glenn, can you control it, please? And Mr. Garza represents the company, correct?
Yes, yes.
Yes, there's questions for you, sir.
Mr. De La Fuente, that was one of our criteria that we put out in an addendum to be very clear on that matter. That's a great question, and absolutely, it's based on the 45 patients per day, because that's where we want to get the clinic up to due to the current wait time and some dissatisfaction within the past. And the amount that he gave us on that is a 2-year guaranteed. So you feel free to ask him any questions again. Right.
Sounds too good to be true.
Well, I think actually it's about in the ballpark for what the services should be. I really do.
How do you plan it, sir,
Well, I'll let him answer that question because he's the expert on it, and it's his plan, although we have, he has answered that question to our satisfaction, but you might as well hear it from the horse's mouth, if that's right with you. Okay?
Hello, good evening. Actually, we have 2 clinics in operation. We have a structured model that consists of an MD and a mid-level on-site, 3 MAs, 2 front desk, and our existing model, we can see up to 80 patients a day, and our clinics do average approximately 65 patients a day currently.
And on the average, how much time do you give the patient?
On the average, well, in accordance, depending on the setup with the walk-ins and with the appointments, we anticipate anywhere between 15 to 25 minutes.
Where are you currently operating?
In Port Isabel, Texas, we have 2 rural health clinics currently, specializing in managed care.
And they service, you said 80 patients a day?
Yes, one of our clinic site can see up to 80 patients a day, which we know for a fact for our model, we can see up to a certain amount depending on the issues that the patients have.
Have you been to our facility and observed it and looked at it, and is the layout going to be compatible with the model?
Definitely, we sure did, and the answer is yes.
So you know the physical location of where our clinic is, how many rooms it has, how many offices there are, and based on that, you can see 45 patients a day.
The answer is yes, and as we grow, the school district has committed as well to expand to provide additional room for continuous savings. Yes.
And that commitment by the school district is in terms of us building more rooms, or have you even discussed that? Anybody had any?
Yes, definitely. I currently have 2 existing clinics. Once again, we have a clinic that has up to 4 rooms and one that has up to 9 rooms. So we have different variations of models that we utilize currently, and with the existing model, the answer is yes, we
How
can.
many rooms are there now at the clinic that you have?
Currently, you have 4. 3. I apologize, 3 of them.
Well, that's what I'm concerned about. See, we have a clinic with 3 rooms, and you're used to operating a clinic that.
Mr. De La Fuente, right now we have 3 exam rooms, and those rooms are fairly large, so we're planning on doing is making 2 exam rooms out of 1. So we would have a total of 4. Actually, it would be 2, 4, 6. 6 rooms. We'd have 6 exam rooms, and we would have 2 doctors on site. Right now, we only have 1 physician on site. We would have 1 physician, and we would have 1 PA. And that is the reason they're able to take care of 45 patients a day, if that's the case.
Well, we're splitting these 3 rooms into 2 doctors. They're not going to be closet.
Oh, no, not at all.
I don't know.
Not at all, sir. We've already looked into that, and no, they will not be closets. They're going to be fairly large, I'd say, compared to if you were to go to Samuel Medical Associates. Those, I think our rooms would still be larger than what they've got right now. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no more questions. Do I have a motion to approve item 1203A-3? Motion made by Mr. De La Fuente.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Aguilera. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 11, closed meeting, discussion under the authority of the Texas government. Oh, I'm sorry. We had a question on item 1203A-14.
My question was as what portions we're talking about suspending. I don't know.
The only portion we're suspending is the 15% for this year only, which was done statewide.
Oh, okay.
So that's the only, and since the board policy called for the 15%, we're asking that it be suspended for this year only.
Okay. That was just my only question.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve item 1203A-14?
So moved.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Tumberlinson.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Aguilera. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll move on to item number 11, closed meeting, discussion under the authority of the Texas Government Code. 551.071 for the purpose of a private consultation with the board's attorney on any or all subject or matters authorized by law. A, pending litigations. 551.074 for the purpose of the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, to hear complaints or charges against a public officer or employee. A, report on personnel. B, request for approval of the termination of probationary contracts and/or proposed notice of non-renewal of term contracts. The time is now 7:45 and we're in closed session. We are returning from closed session. Item number 12, consider action on items discussed in closed meeting. 551.071 for the purpose of a private consultation with board's attorney on any or all subjects or matters authorized by law. A, pending litigations. 551.074 for the purpose of the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, to hear complaints or charges against a public officer or employee. A, request for approval of the termination of probationary contracts and/or proposed notice of non-renewal of term contracts.
Yes, Madam President, I would like to recommend that the probationary contract for Lorraine Jordan be terminated at the end of the year.
I'll make a motion that we accept that recommendation.
Motion made by Mr. De La Fuente, seconded by Mr. Tumberlinson. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 13, adjournment. The time is 8:22 and we are adjourned.